Hey everyone, this is the Bearded Zeno, and this is going to be an editorial style video to the best of my abilities. I'm not really an editor. I'm just whatever. Raise the roof. Anyways, you've seen the title of the video, and it's Does Star Wars Battlefront Need a Campaign? First off, full disclosure, I am a campaign guy. I buy Call of Duty for the campaign. I rarely ever test the multiplayer for Call of Duty, ever. My multiplayer game of choice, Battlefield, I play the campaign first. Then I play multiplayer. Any game that has campaign or multiplayer, campaign first, then multiplayer. That's what I do all the time. Never drop into multiplayer first. Gears of War, Halo, Uncharted, Always do campaign first, then multiplayer. Never drop into multiplayer until I finish the campaign. That's my ritual. That's what I do. I lived without high-speed internet, or, which was just on dial-up for years, like up to like 4 years ago. So, up until then, I was having to live off single-player games, right? Multiplayer gaming was just a pie-in-the-sky, fat guy, pie-in-the-sky. So, it was just something I always had to look forward to, but I always had to live off those campaigns. That's my bread and butter, right? So, my answer to does Star Wars Battlefront need a campaign is going to really surprise you. No. No, it doesn't. Hell no, it doesn't. You want to know why? Because the previous games in the series didn't have one. Oh no, did I just step on toes? Oh god, don't hit the dislike button. You're probably going to. What most people call a campaign in the Battlefront series is Battlefront 2. And it's to deal with the 501st and their journey from being, clones all the way up until they died out, pretty much. That's not a campaign, people. What we know of as a campaign, what we knew of as a campaign back then, it wasn't a campaign. That was a shoestring story told through interstitial cutscenes that just featured multiplayer footage in between multiplayer matches of you versus bots. Let this sink in for a second. It was nothing but you versus bots on multiplayer maps. Let that sink in. So all these people think, oh well, God, it doesn't have a campaign. It's not worth my $60. Those people probably don't know Battlefront, or they're completely misremembering Battlefront. Battlefront has always been multiplayer-centric. Multiplayer only, pretty much. It's always had bots. For the people who cannot go online, for the people who don't want to go online, it's always had bots. That's been the single-player experience. But I really do think that most people are either misremembering that or really comparing it to the Battlefield franchise. Not exactly a fair comparison. Sure, they're being made by the same developers, by the same publisher, but they are completely different franchises. And if you play them both, other than the fact that they are first-person shooters with vehicle combat, they are completely different. If you know what the fuck you're talking about when you play shooters, they are completely different. As somebody like Evil Omega, love him to death, but any shooter he plays, it's just like Call of Duty, it's the same thing. God bless him. Some people literally can't tell the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty, and that's perfectly fine. It is kind of nuanced. You have to know what you're talking about. You've had to play a lot of shooters, log a lot of hours, know the actual differences in how they work, how the systems work, how the mechanics work, all that good stuff. And as somebody who's played a lot of shooters, I can tell you that Battlefront is completely different than Battlefield. I should know that because I've sunk so many hours into Battlefield over the years. It is my multiplayer go-to. It is. It really is. And like I said, that campaign in Battlefront 2 is not a campaign. It's not a campaign. And I mostly see this Battlefront needs a campaign argument from big YouTubers in the media. I'm not going to really throw out any real names out there, but you know who you are. Especially if you've done a few videos where, oh, Battlefront needs a campaign. Battlefront has no campaign. You clearly don't know Battlefront. I really do think that most people are just comparing it to Battlefield. It's like, well, Battlefield has a campaign and multiplayer. This has to have a campaign and multiplayer because they're supposed to be the same, right? I think it's funny that just 2 years ago, people were saying, oh, God, cut shooter campaigns. They're no fun. Nobody ever plays them anyways. They're a waste of time and development costs. Now here you have Rainbow Six Siege. Started with Titanfall, actually. So you got Titanfall, Rainbow Six Siege, and now you have Battlefront. All launched without campaigns. And Evolve, but Evolve was just a hollow shell of a shit game. All those games launched with no campaign, right? Or are launching, in some cases, without a campaign. And here you have basically the same people who are saying, oh, cut shooter campaign, screaming, where's the campaign? It's not worth my money if it doesn't have a campaign. So literally, within 2 year span, oh, cut the campaigns, they suck too. Oh, hey, where's the campaign? That's how I feel whenever I say that shit. It pisses me off. Like, make up your damn mind. Like I said, I am a campaign guy, right? And like I said, it all started with this game right here. This game right here, Titanfall. This is what started it all because it launched without a campaign. Now, like I said, Battlefront doesn't need a campaign, but did Titanfall need a campaign? Yeah. Titanfall did. It was severely lacking in content. And the big difference between Titanfall and Star Wars Battlefront is there's no other way to explore this lore, to get inside this world. We needed a single-player campaign to let us understand these characters, let us understand this world and how it works. We don't need that with Star Wars Battlefront. We have 7 movies, bukus of games already out, tons of novels, tons of more games coming. So why does Star Wars Battlefront need a campaign? Is it just so people can have an arbitrary tick in their mind to say, oh, well, yeah, it's got a campaign, it's got co-op, and it's multiplayer, it's worth $60. Not even looking at the quality of the product. Not even looking at how much fun the product is. Is Battlefront perfect? Hell no. But no game is. No game is perfect, ever. It's got massive spawn camping issues. It really... really does. Apparently the flight controls are shit on PC, and pardon me, I've been up all night. And the hero system is just fucked. It's hard to find the heroes, and when you do, they play like shit, and it usually spawns you way too far from the action, and Darth Vader sounds like Lord Helmet from Spaceballs, and that's just atrocious. Like, seriously, Darth Vader does not sound like Lord Helmet. It pisses me off every time I hear, oh Lord, you must feel my lightsaber. What the fuck is that shit? Anyways, rant over. Back onto the actual game. It doesn't need a campaign. Like I said, no, it doesn't. It does not. Now, when you have multiplayer-centric games, they can work, just like single-player-centric games can work. You have Skyrim, Fallout, The Witcher. Right, you can't really count Mass Effect or Dragon Age anymore because they shoehorn multiplayer in there. But nobody ever cries for multiplayer being in Fallout. Nobody looks at Fallout and says, oh, it's a 200-hour game, but it's single player only. There's no multiplayer. Fuck that. I'm not buying it. No. If you're a fan of what that game is delivering in that world, you're going to buy it no matter what. You're not going to say, well, it doesn't have this arbitrary box ticked, so I can't buy it. You know? Got a hair on my nose. So, like, single-player games can work, just like multiplayer-only games can work. Like I said, I'm a single-player guy. I'm a campaign guy, right? That's what I thrive for. I'm going to eat the shit out of Fallout 4, right? When that goes out, I'm just going to live in that Boston wasteland for the rest of the year, probably. But when I take breaks, I'm going to be playing Star Wars Battlefront. That'll be my multiplayer game. And I think they're a good counter program because they come out right around the same time. Single player only game, multiplayer only game. Bread and butter, here we go, yeah! It's like a chocolate and a peanut butter kind of situation. But a multiplayer game only, multiplayer centric only game can work. Depends on the content, and not exactly the quantity of the content, but the quality of the content. And for a shooter, it also matters on the shooting mechanics and how addictive the gameplay is. Now, pardon me. The shooting mechanics in Star Wars Battlefront, rock solid. Really awesome. I love it. And it's also fun and addictive to play. You're running through those trenches on Hoth. You see the Walker running beside you. You see TIE Fighter chased by an X-Wing, chased by a TIE Fighter, all buzzing you at ground level. Things are exploding everywhere. An ion torpedo goes. A thermal detonator comes over here, and then all of a sudden you have this jetpack trooper jump over into your trench and then blow you up. You respawn and then you get choked by Darth Vader. What's not fun about that? What's not fun about that? That's awesome. It's when you're playing it, you can't just help but smile. If you're a Star Wars fan and you're playing this game and you're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted, this isn't fun, then you need to get your heart checked. Make sure that you're still living, because this game is a blast. It is Star Wars through and through. You cannot deny that. And the fact that it has good shooting mechanics and it's fun and addictive to play, I mean, that should be a winning combination, right? But no, people are holding it to this arbitrary box on the back of the box. It's like, oh, I gotta have this little check mark here that says it has a campaign. If it doesn't have that campaign, it is not worth $60. It just pisses me off, like, because that's totally not what Battlefront is. Like I said, Battlefront has never had a campaign, ever. I really do think it's because people are comparing it to Battlefield. See, these games have a campaign and they have multiplayer, and they're by the same developer. This is by the same developer, and I think people really are just holding it to that standard. They're not treating it as its own entity. People were screaming before this came out, DICE, give us a true Battlefront game. Don't just make it Battlefield reskin. Make it true, make it perfect, make it the worthy successor that we've been waiting 10 years for. It comes out, and it is arguably better than those original. I say it's better by a mile, especially in the gameplay mechanics, definitely in the graphics. In the gameplay, it is miles ahead of those old games. Those games are kind of clunky. They're definitely not good by today's standards. They're definitely still totally playable, but by today's shooting standards, no. If you're gonna sit there and tell me that Battlefront 2 is on the same level as this new Battlefront gameplay-wise, then you have on some very, very thick rose-tinted goggles. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and it can be very blinding. I love Battlefront 2, alright? But this is the worthy successor. And literally what you people are asking for it to have a campaign, right? It's like you're asking it to be more like Battlefield, which is what people were screaming. The same people were screaming, hey, DICE, don't make it a Battlefield clone. So it's like, so damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. DICE pretty much knew what they were in for. They're stepping into a bee's hive. Like, well, we're touching Battlefront. People are naturally going to hate us. They're naturally going to hate the product because it's not going to be up to their standards of what it should be. Like, bottom line, does Battlefront need a campaign? No. I would love it for it to have a campaign, but, this isn't Dark Forces, people. Battlefront has never had a single-player campaign. It's like you're getting it confused with Dark Forces, right? Like I said, did Titanfall need a campaign? Yeah, because we have no other way to explore this lore. Battlefront doesn't. Battlefront's sole purpose for existing It's for multiplayer battles of those iconic Star Wars battles. That's what it's for. That's the reason Battlefront was made. It wasn't made for a campaign at all. Much as I would love for it to have that. I mean, could you imagine a Battlefront style Battlefield, there we go. Battlefield style campaign with this? That would be amazing. Especially on the Frostbite engine with DICE. I mean, most people don't really exactly like DICE's campaigns. I do. I don't all the Battlefield campaigns. I really have. I mean, liked, not loved, but liked. So I think DICE could do something special with a single player Battlefront. But that's just not what this game was supposed to be. This is not what this game's ever supposed to be. So that's my rant over. Hopefully this has enlightened some people out there. Probably not. Just fucking got a bunch of dislikes on this, but I just had to vent. Because I'm tired of seeing people say, oh, Battlefront needs a campaign. No, it doesn't. Sorry. As much as I would love for it to, it doesn't need it. Beers ain't no out.